All right, I see the participant number going up. Bear with me. Welcome, everybody. We're going to give a few minutes for other folks to connect. Probably get chatting at about 7:05 or so. We're waiting on one more panelist as well. So bear with us and we'll get started soon. Then, guys, if you want to also watch Q&A and clue me in if something comes up, just interrupt me and we can see about getting a question answered.
Sounds good.
All right.
I got it all pulled up.
$18 so far. Oh, good deal. Good, good. About 3 more minutes, we'll get rolling. We got 15 in and 40 something, I think, registered. So we'll give them a chance to get connected. I know of a couple that their Zoom app decided it was time to update right as they tried to connect. So that can take a little bit. We'll wait for them. All right. Hello. Helen, can you hear us okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Just
My
trying.
Zoom app did this. Mine did that to me the other day.
Yeah, it's a different version. It's Workplace or something.
Yeah.
So you might be able to see me in a minute.
Oh, you're here.
I'm
Who
here.
knew?
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, we'll start in about a minute and see if we can get these others a chance to connect up.
Yeah, I ended up using the link rather than the invite. The invite wouldn't work, or the passcode said invalid.
Oh, that's different.
Yeah.
Almost time.
Don, it looks like we have a attendant who has their hand raised, I think. So I think when we start off, we should probably clarify how we do Q&A and all that stuff.
Someone
Yep,
just
absolutely.
asked, how do I know if I'm muted? This is a webinar, so the only people that will be able to hear or hear talk are the panelists.
Correct. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. There's some more people that'll probably show up as we get kind of going on this. But everybody, I want to welcome you to the 2024 pre-camp leaders meeting for Camp Pigott and all of Camp Pigott's summer programs. That's Traditional Scouts BSA Summer Camp, the Adventure Challenge elective for older scouts, and of course, Weblow's AOL camp at Camp Pigott later on in July. So just a quick overview of tonight's meeting. We've had the welcome. We'll introduce our leadership here in just a moment. We'll talk about the summer program guide, unit leadership requirements, and these will be the requirements as updated September 1 of last year, so just after summer camp last year. We'll talk about buddy system requirements, check-in and medical forms, some basic things to remember, how to get here. We have an example of our schedule and our program information on this webinar. Just a few things that are available on the council website, and we'll mention those. Then we'll also have specific information about the Adventure Challenge elective and also Weblow's AOL camp. And then at the end, we'll go ahead and we'll have a session to sit and answer any questions that we haven't answered throughout the webinar. This year, we've kind of condensed down the PowerPoint presentation in order to save time, so we have more question time at the end. Let's go. All right, so I want to introduce our Camp Pigott management for this year. You have myself, Don Bader. I'm the camp director here at Camp Pigott. With me, I have Aidan Hennekins, our program director, Helen Young, our head commissioner, and our assistant program director, who is also heading up Weblow's and AOL camp, Ethan Fleming. All right, we're going to go ahead and start with a real quick safety moment. Hopefully you guys get the audio on this. This is about transporting scouts to outings, which I thought was pretty fitting, seeing as we're all going to be transporting our scouts here to camp this summer. So here we go. Whoop, it quit. There we go.
I don't think we have the audio here, Don.
You don't have the audio?
No, we do not.
Hang on. Hang on. Technical difficulties. Oh, crying out loud. Hang on a minute. Hang on, guys. Bear with me. I apologize. Always something, right? Well, I don't think that this is going to play where everybody can hear it. In a nutshell, he's going to talk about proper insurance, seat belts, avoiding distracted driving, and that sort of thing. But the gist of it is we want to make sure that we get our scouts to camp as safely as possible. And so we'll move past this in the interest of saving a little bit of time. There we go. All right. So what is going on? There we go. All right. So I want to let everybody know that our 2024 summer program guide, this was formerly called the Leader's Guide, is ready to go. You can click the link on your screen or scan the QR code. I'll give you a couple minutes to do that. This has every bit of information about every program happening at Camp Pigott this summer. We'll also email this out via Tentaroo, and it'll be available on the council website here shortly. The person that does that is currently on vacation, but we wanted to be sure to get this to you tonight, to get it into your hands. Oh, clicking's not activated. How do we do that? Bear with me. Participants.
Currently working on a way to get the link into chat for you guys, so that'll be in there. In a
That'll
moment.
work. Yeah, let's do that. We'll get it in there. Mm. Right, you got it in chat. I don't know if chat is accessible.
Give me a quick second. Ooh, actually, wait.
QR code worked.
Did the QR code work? Perfect. Let's see. I wonder if I can put it in there. To hosts and panelists, to everyone. Let's try that. All right, I was able to put that in chat. Hopefully it will let you guys in there to get it. Otherwise, the QR is also available. And like I said, this is going to come out via email to every adult registered for Camp Pigott. And it'll be on our website. I'm going to move past this screen and talk a little bit about the new unit leadership requirements. Those again were effective September 1 of last year. Helen, if you would like to jump in, if I misspeak or if I've missed anything, let us know. We want to make sure that we get all this information to everybody accurately to avoid problems when everybody comes to camp. So for Scouts BSA troops, each troop coming to camp needs to have its own dedicated 2 deep leadership. That means that linked troops may not share leadership to meet this requirement. Every troop has to come to camp as a separate unit and must have its own 2 deep leadership and at least 2 scouts for the buddy system. With these new policies from National, we're not able to permit scouts from one unit to mix in with their linked counterpart troop under the same leadership. These troops that are coming to camp with members of both of their linked troops, again, will need to have at least 4 adults. And for units serving female scouts, one of those adults must be female. In addition, all adults staying overnight must be registered in the same troop as the youth they'll be staying with. This registration must be in an adult position that required a background check as part of the registration process. So positions such as merit badge counselors don't require that background check, and so they're not sufficient for the registration requirement to stay overnight. We are required to check and verify adult registrations for every adult registered to be here, and we'll be doing that. Now, that said, we can let a linked troop share a site, but each troop needs to have its own separate area and meet minimum adult leadership and scout requirements individually. Does that sound right, Helen? Perfect. Okay. So for Webelos and AOL scouts and parents that are attending with them, the new requirements provide a specific exception to the registration requirement for activities at the Cub Scout level. The Webelos and AOL camp is a Cub Scout level program. And so for those, an unregistered parent may attend with their Cub Scout. An unregistered parent may tent with their own child or children. Unregistered parents, though, cannot be unaccompanied around Cub Scouts who are not their own children. There needs to be other registered adults around if those unregistered parents are interacting with children that are not their own. For Webelos and AOL camp, our staff over the age of 18 are considered registered adults for this requirement, and they can be counted towards that. So, you know, if it's a couple of unregistered parents with their kids, but there's some of our staff around, then that meets that requirement. When sharing cabins, the arrangement has to be single gender, and there must be at least 2 registered adults with current YP training, and there must be at least 4 Cub Scouts. Then unregistered parents staying in that cabin with them must have at least completed the youth protection training online, and that certificate needs to be current. All good? Good? Okay.
Yep.
Perfect. For Scouts participating in Adventure Challenge elective, on the nights that these Scouts are in camp, this year they'll be camping with their own troop. So the rules that we just went over for Scouts BSA level programs and unit leadership will apply there. When they are out of camp overnight, the leadership requirements will be met by our Camp Pigott staff that are along on that elective with them. These are 21-year adults, and they're considered agents of the council as part of our staff, and so they can fulfill that requirement. They've been through specific training relating to leadership and supervision as far as in a long-term camp setting. And the outing would be treated just like we treat provisional Scouts in camp. We create a troop for those Scouts, and we provide the leadership if we have a provisional troop. I know some of you are familiar with the way it was done in the past. We could take provisional Scouts and kind of embed them with other units. Due to the new registration requirements, we can no longer do that. So they have to be in a troop that we create out of those Scouts that came to camp by themselves. And then again, we provide that leadership. These requirements at all program levels are spelled out in a whole lot more detail in that summer program guide that we just handed out to you guys via QR. I'd like to ask that you study that carefully so that you can plan accordingly ahead of camp. All right. Talk about the buddy system. The use of the buddy system at camp is required both by national standards and by the Guide to Safe Scouting. We require that it be used at all times at Camp Pigott. As a reminder, buddy pairs or groups of 3 must be single gender. Members of buddy pairs or groups of 3 must not be more than 2 years apart in age. And it's specifically lined out that adult and youth buddy pairs are never permitted, nor are mixed gender buddy pairs. So as your Scouts are planning for their camp activities, it would be good if they did so with that requirement in mind, so that they're sure to always have a buddy that they can pair up with. How are we doing on questions? None. Okay. Let me shrink that. All right. We'll talk briefly about check-in and medical forms. Checking into summer camp is going to look a whole lot similar to last year for those that were here last year. Before you get here, you'll want to settle all your fee balances. And here at Pigott, we offer the option for you to send in your medical forms ahead of time to our mailing address via a trackable courier service such as FedEx or UPS or similar. That's not required. That's an option that we offer you, and it saves time. At check-in, we can review those forms ahead of your arrival and kind of pick out any issues before it's the last minute. When you get here, it'll be by scheduled arrival time. We do that by your campsite. But when your unit gets here, once you're all here, whether if you're in a shared site, if you're here, we're going to take you up there, even if the other group is not all the way here yet. Your unit leader will check in with camp management on the way up the hill. Medical rechecks will happen, and camp tours and swim checks. Now, this whole process for Scouts BSA camp especially is lined out step by step in that leader's guide. It's a little bit different for Webelos and AOL camp. That too is lined out in that guide step by step so that you'll know exactly what to expect when you arrive at camp. Okay. Who needs a medical form? Everyone. Camp Pigott offers the option for medical forms, again, to be mailed with tracking, just like we were talking about. And the advantages we get from that are an expedited check-in, resolution of incomplete forms or forms with problems, and we as a staff are better prepared to support your unit when you get here. And that's what we're all about, is supporting you. For more guidance on this, review that summer program guide, and you are more than welcome at any time to shoot me an email if you have specific questions about any of this. Okay. All scouts and adults must have an annual health and medical record on file while they're at camp, and that has to include A, B, and C. According to national standards and BSA policy, the requirement for Part C is governed by the length of the program being attended and not the length of a time a person will be in camp. All Camp Pigott summer programs exceed 72 hours in length. And because of that, anyone who's going to be attending for any length of time must submit a Part C. Now, on your Part C, a doctor's signature is valid until the last day of the 12th month following the date of that signature. So for us this summer, if your Part C has a doctor's signature dated July 1 of last year or later, it would be good for all the sessions that we're doing at Pigott, since they are finished before the 31st of July.
We had a question, Don.
Yep.
The question was, can we send in digital copies beforehand for them to be reviewed?
I'm going to be honest, I shy away from sending things digitally via email just because I can't guarantee that it's as secure as it probably should be. And this is personal health information. It's better to mail them snail mail with tracking. But if you're unable to do that, you can go ahead and bring them along with you when you come. That's fine. But yeah, I really would shy away from sending them digitally if you can. All right. Okay, national camp standards require that all prescription drugs must be kept in locked storage. It's okay to have a limited amount of medication carried by a leader for things like asthma, bee stings, heart medication, things that are life-threatening. And we'll have lock boxes available for you to check out for those important things, those life-threatening conditions, those medications. Other things, this year we prefer that those meds be checked, and we'll do med call at the health lodge. A quick word about the camp emergency contact. If you have an emergency at home and you need to reach somebody who's here at camp and you're unable to reach them on their cell phone, you can call camp at this number. Let us know the name of the scout or the leader and what their troop number is and how they can get back in touch with you, and we'll relay your messages to that person right away. If their phone is not working or doesn't have service, whatever it may be, we'll make the office phone available if there's an emergency so they can go ahead and return your call. You can also send an email to myself if it's something that you'd rather send via email instead of making a call. And I will print that out and get it to who it needs to go to. All right, emergencies in camp. We have an established emergency mobilization plan in the event of an in-camp emergency. That is required by national camp standards. The details of that plan are shared with all of the campers, leaders, kids alike, shortly after you arrive at camp. And then just a quick word about Adventure Challenge. We know that they're going to be out of camp. There is an established protocol for communication and emergencies. if they occur on that program. Additionally, the staff on Adventure Challenge are trained in wilderness first aid. But say they're out in no cell phone coverage areas, and there's an injury and that person can't walk. Our protocol, there's always 4 staff with that group. And so the protocol is that 2 stay with the group, so 2 deep is covered. And then the other 2 will walk back to where there is cell phone coverage and make that call. In addition to that, when the group is on their Leavenworth campout, we have made Leavenworth EMS aware that we have a group of scouts that'll be camping at a private campsite. They know where that is. So they're prepared in the event that we have something go wrong. They know ahead of time that we're going to be there. The same is true for Granite Falls fire when the guys go out and do their hiking off the Mountain Loop Highway. So we've made local EMS authorities aware that the kids will be out there ahead of time.
Before we move on, we had a question about Wi-Fi in camp and its people's access to it. We have a leaders yurt where if leaders need to do like emails or any kind of work throughout the week, they have access to that, and they can go to that area and use Wi-Fi.
Absolutely. Okay, we good on that one?
Yep.
All right. Quick word about special needs. That could be special accommodation. Say you have a CPAP machine. It could be physical limitation, dietary need, anything like that. We ask that you provide the information about those needs through the Tentaroo online registration system. And we need to get those, especially for dietary needs, at least 2 weeks prior to attending camp. It's better if we get it prior to that, even the earlier the better. This next one is going to kind of explain how to do that. What you'll do to report those needs to us is log into your Tentaroo and go to your registration for summer camp. And when you're there, you scroll down to participants, that area near the bottom of the page. Youth will be listed first, adults will be listed underneath them, but you click the name that you want to enter the special information for. Click manage. I've made an illustration right here. And then when you click manage, a little drop down will come up and you want to click edit registration. From within there, you can kind of see down lower at the very bottom of that participant's registration page is the area where you put those in. So if you have a serious allergy, you slide the thing to yes, the same for dietary restrictions. And then on the additional info line, type in there the specifics about what it is that's needed, so that we can be prepared to take care of your needs while you're here at camp. Go ahead. I'm going to leave this up just for a minute. If you have a phone camera or something and want to snap a photo of this so that you have it. All right. So just some quick things to remember. You guys, Ethan, Aiden, and Helen, if I've missed anything, just feel free to jump in and rattle it off. Hand sanitizers. Remember, we don't do open-toed shoes at camp. Sandals on the beach are okay. Bring a water bottle, 2 if you can. Bug spray, sunscreen, all your forms, and remember to have fun. Also, bring along your funds for the trading post and any merit badge class supplies that you might need, or class fees, such as for rifle shooting or shotgun. The specifics on all those fees are in that program guide. And yeah, everything you need is right there. And remember, the scout law is the law of the camp. Have I missed anything that we want to make sure people hear?
I think that is good.
All right. Okay, addresses for camp and how to get here. So if you have a GPS or a phone that has Google Maps or Apple Maps, this address, 24225 Woods Creek Road, if you put that into your GPS, it will take you directly to Camp Pigott. But that address is only for GPS. don't send mail to that address. It won't get here. It's happened before. Um, we would rather that you use our mailing address for mail, and that's listed here. The camp, your camper's name and troop number, and then 25600A Monroe Camp Road in Snohomish. The mail actually comes to the complete opposite end of the property from where you enter. So just remember that, and we'll be good. A word about mail, just real quick. We have found that United States Postal Service is not real reliable with packages out here to camp. What happens is they'll leave a slip instead of bringing the package in, and it's half an hour each direction to our post office. We may not have somebody that can go to the post office on a daily basis, and we want to make sure that your scouts don't miss getting their package. So what we recommend is to have parents or family or whoever send packages via UPS or FedEx or one of those. We, like, again, I say we advise that you shy away from using USPS for packages. They'll get letters here and postcards here, no problem. Packages are where we run into the issue at. All right, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Aiden and Ethan to talk a little bit about our program area elements. And if you guys just want to let me know when you're ready to advance slides, I'll do that for you.
Awesome. We have a ton of awesome areas here at Camp Pigott, and I'll go through some of them, some of the offerings. We have our Scoutcraft area. This is our area with all the scout skills and outdoorsy adventurous things. So things like camping merit badge, emergency preparedness. This year we have made a change where instead of straight up offering the cooking merit badge, they've made a lot of changes to it, and it really just isn't realistic to expect to have a scout earn that merit badge at camp. So instead, we are doing an outdoor cooking class where we'll go through cooking and we'll hit some of the requirements of the cooking merit badge, but that's not our real goal for the class. It's more of we want to really give the kids a experience for outdoor cooking rather than doing the merit badge. Some other things we have wilderness survival and some other things. You can find all the merit badges in our leader's guide as well. Ecology conservation, we do the e-sciences and all those fun things. We have weather, soil and water conservation, forestry, environmental science, the big one, all those fun things. Yep. Craft Lodge, all our crafting merit badges, wood carving, leatherworking, basketry, basket weaving, those types of things. Our aquatics area, we do the boating merit badges as well as swimming and life saving. We also do mile swim there as well. We have a blacksmith shop. That blacksmith shop, I believe, is for 14 and up. Don, is that correct? I'm pretty sure it's 14 and up.
In the guide, it's 15 in a couple of different places. But if our limitation is 14, we can make that change on the fly.
Well, the number is in the leader's guide, but that's a cool merit badge that not all camps are able to offer. We have a cool blacksmith shop where we can teach that. We have mountain biking where we can do the cycling merit badge and do all the bike repair and cool stuff and do bike trips from the mountain biking shed. We have your rifle, shotgun, and archery, our shooting sports merit badges. We also offer NRA shooting for rifle during the day, which is cool and fun if you have a scout that's really wants to get their marksmanship badges. We have a cope course as well as a climbing tower. The cope is a really awesome program. I suggest it for all of your older scouts who want to learn more about leadership, as well as overcoming personal fears or learning about themselves. It's a fantastic program that goes throughout the week, where they'll be with a group of scouts and they'll do low cope challenges building up to a end of the week high cope course. And they'll be able to go up in the up high and do some fun ropes challenges up in the sky. The climbing tower, our climbing tower is awesome. We have 4 faces to it with varying difficulties of climbs. So all scouts should find something fun there. We also have service projects available. We do those during our troop time, and once we go over, we'll see our schedule. I'll talk about when that troop time is, as well as our camp-wide competitions and our camp-wide events, like Charlie's Challenge, our patrol competition, as well as the Rendezvous Run, our relay race, and things like that. I have a question here. The guide mentions sailings by appointment, along with a few other merit badges. How does that work? The by appointment merit badges are really meant for that free time for them to go. They're just merit badges that we'd really small boat sailing especially is something that is hard to teach on our lake because of how much space we have for wind to build up. We only really get wind right after lunch, so if that's something specific scout is interested, maybe spending their free time doing, that would be the time for that. I know the Craft Lodge has some by appointment merit badges that they do during that free time. But we're really flexible with what we can offer during that free time period. And so talking with our area directors and staff, we can make things happen. If, let's say, the schedule maybe doesn't fit exactly for what your scout wants to do.
Yeah, we're real big on finding a way to be able to say yes when we get a special request. I won't say that we can always do it, but what I can say is that we'll make every effort to try to find a way. If it's within our ability, we're going to try to make it happen for you.
Awesome. Could you go to the next slide, Don? I think this should be
Okay, you
our
bet.
schedule.
Right there, you go.
It's not. This is a list of merit badges. You can also find this in the leader's guide. The leader's guide will have specific time slots, and we'll look at the time slots when we look at the schedule. If you want to go to the next one.
All right.
We have a question. Can leaders bring bicycles? Yes, they can. Scouts can also bring their own bicycles. Just make sure you have a helmet. Helmets are required.
It should be a regular bike. We want to try and not get involved in having the electric bikes around if we can help that. So,
yep. Awesome.
Right. So I'll jump in just real quick. Merit badge sign up is ready for you if you haven't been in there already. Go ahead and access your tentative registration. You can sign your scouts up for merit badges through there. An added note, we do have a thing on the first day that we call merit badge midway, so that if last minute changes are needed for your scout schedules, we can work with you to make that happen. Right? All right, go for it.
Awesome. So we talked a little bit about this, and we have some other activities in addition to the merit badges. We have a Trail to First Class program that is for newer scouts who kind of want to do merit badges, but they also want to do advancement requirements. And this really gives them a look into what camp is like. They'll get to go to all sorts of different areas and try different things as a part of the program. It's really awesome and fun. It's not a Trail to First Class program. It's a Trail to First Class plus a lot of other activities that are done. So that is our FICEP, our first year camper experience program. We do open shoots through our ranges, our blacksmith shop, as well as through the Scoutcraft area. We do fireman's ship, tote and chip. we'll have a Paul Bunyan Award.
Just a quick note on the Paul Bunyan thing. There was someone that had called me to ask about that, and I got the answer, but I had lost your phone number. So if you are that person, yes, we're going to do Paul Bunyan, and I apologize for having lost your number and not been able to get back to you.
Yeah, we got a couple questions, Dawn. What about
Okay.
adults bringing e-bikes for those pesky hills?
Those pesky hills. We can't have an e-bike. It's got to be a regular bike, like a mountain bike or whatever. Yeah. The e-bikes, they go too fast for the rules. In years past, we've had a couple of staff people that have used them. We're not even going to be doing that. So.
All right.
Does FICEP, can you take that FICEP one real quick, Aiden?
Yep. So, our FICEP program won't really break it off by rank, but that is something that we can kind of offer during like a free time or one of those periods of times. Since FICEP is only during the not all, I think it's only during the first three merit badge sessions. It we're able to do that at the 1:45 time or a free time like that. Or if you want to do requirements during a troop time, we can set that up. So we can kind of shift our program to fit what your scouts need.
Yeah.
And
Also,
the
just a quick
last-
mention on open shoots. We do offer the NRA marksmanship program throughout the week. It's not a merit badge, but that's the like we do that at Shooting Sports Day as well here at camp. They can get their marksman or their sharpshooter or their what have you. NRA has an entire program for that, and we do that program here at camp. Helen, I hate to put you on the spot. Can you talk a little bit about the adult things that we offer here?
Sure. The Advanced Adult Recognition Program is rather like a blue card for merit badge for adults. Takes you around the camp, experiencing all sorts of different areas, talking to people, meeting people, making friends, and having a bit of fun on the way. Chili cook-off, I think we will be providing basic ingredients, and then it's up to you whether you bring more. Usually we have teams competing, and that's really good fun too. Scoutmaster golf, I'm going to say maybe get your scouts involved in helping you with that. I don't want to say too much, or people will come too prepared.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Right. And then whatever trainings we can add in to supplement online trainings, just because it's always better to have trainings in person where you can ask questions and get a response. I think that's probably about it.
We do have the two aquatics trainings that we're going to be doing, the safety afloat and is it safe swim defense, I believe, that we'll offer as well.
Okay.
Right.
Are we ready to? Oh, I just want to put in a note here under trainings. We have the paddlecraft, we have the water rescue, some other things. I'm going to add in a session this year, one at each week of camp. We'll do a understanding and preventing youth on youth abuse training for adults. That's valuable training. Camp staff is required to take it. I just re-upped at National Camping School, and that was something that they encouraged us to do, and I think it's a great idea. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to offer that once a session this year.
I mean, we can add in, I guess, the life saving can be taken by adults as well.
Absolutely, yep.
I don't think if there's anything else. There'll be lots of opportunities for adults to try different areas too.
And there's more about this in that program guide as well. So just look through there. I know I keep referring to that, but it really is a wealth of information about what's going on here this summer. Okay, so this is new. This year, we plan to implement using Tentaroo for merit badge tracking. We'll update the Tentaroo system with your Scouts merit badge progress periodically throughout the week. This will allow you as a leader to monitor your Scouts progress. You'll be able to pull up that registration on your phone if you have data, and you'll be able to see where they're at throughout the week. And then when we're done, you'll be able to go back into that registration after you get home and import that information into Scoutbook directly from Tentaroo. We are still going to ask that each troop bring a supply along of blue cards. This is the first time we're doing this, and so we want to have the blue cards as a backup in case there's any technical difficulties. But I'm happy to report this change is the direct result of feedback we've received on evaluations in the last couple of years, actually. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to give that a shot and see how that goes. Somebody says, will individual requirements be signed off in Scoutbook or just complete merit badge information? Okay, so in Tentaroo, when we update things, we update them by Scout and by requirement. So it does list each individual requirement. It looks like somebody's typing this answer as well. But if a Scout has a partial completion, it will tell you which requirements were completed and which were not. Hopefully that answers your question for you. Do we have a single building with air conditioning which may be available for a short period to an adult leader if they have a need? We can make that happen. We have portable air conditioning unit. So we're always willing to accommodate wherever we can. If this happens, let us know, and we'll make sure that we can get you what you need. I have a question. Will all that information about merit badges transfer to Scoutbook? And another question, is that automatic or do we have to hand jam it? I believe it's a file that is exported that you then import into Scoutbook. I think. I'm still kind of researching that and seeing how we can best implement it. It's either I get a file and give it to you and then you import that, or you can download that file directly from your Tentaroo registration yourself and then import it into Scoutbook. But again, I have questions out to Tentaroo on that so I can get some clear answers. I don't have them yet, but we will have those when you get to camp. All right. All right, this is an example of our weekly schedule. It's pretty close to what we're going to do, but as with anything, it may change a little bit before we go live with summer camp. But in general, this is what you can expect a week at Camp Pigott to look like schedule-wise. We'll leave this up for a minute if you want to take a couple of shots of it with a phone camera. Also, there is an example of this in that summer program guide.
Some key things on here. On that 7:15 on that Sunday, that area orientation, that would be our merit badge midway. As well as Wednesday is our cookout day. So we do a cookout lunch and a cookout dinner. Yep.
Yep. There's an example of the items that will be provided to you for that cookout for those two meals. But kind of on that note, I'll go off a little bit on a tangent with this. We have contracted with a nationwide food service company that services summer camps, both Scout and otherwise, all across the country. They are professionals. They hire their own people. They come to camp, they're all background checked, all of that stuff, but they have done this for quite some time. They have very good reviews. And anyway, right now we're working on finalizing our menu, the last few things. And so very shortly, I'd say within the next week or so, if you email me, I can provide you with what exactly will be handed out. Alternatively, I will probably email that information out via Tentrue as soon as I have it. I know that that's kind of one of those critical things that you need to know before you come up. All right. No. All right. Mountain bikes, I think we've touched a little bit on this, but just real quick, you are welcome to bring your mountain bike to camp with you. Just remember these rules. Always wear a helmet, always operate it in a safe manner. The camp can't be responsible for damage to the bike that you bring, so be careful with it. If it's a valuable bike that you don't want anything to happen to, it might be best not to bring that. We also ask that these bikes are only to be used on established roads and trails. If you are in the mountain bike program, if you're doing that, we do have bikes that we provide along with helmets. And just a quick shout out for our trading post. This is where you would come to pay for your merit badge programs, get camping equipment, Camp Pigott branded gear, all kinds of other items. It's also where you'll pick up your mail. All right, I'm going to move into the Adventure Challenge elective. This is billed as an introduction to high adventure in the Pacific Northwest. It's an older scout program for youth ages 15 to 17. It includes some natural rock face climbing, whitewater rafting, alpine hiking, mountain biking. They even get to rappel down the face of a waterfall. You see an example of that in one of those photos there. A change this year over last. This year, we're going to run it concurrent with your camp session, but it's an elective. You would sign up for this just like you would for a merit badge. That sign up is in the same place. There is an additional $125 per person charge. Again, book that through Tentrue just like merit badges. I'll talk a little bit about our staff. These are highly experienced folks with on-site specific training in these activities. Our staff is trained in BSA youth protection and the barriers to abuse, hazardous weather, safety afloat, climb on safely. The director of this program is a National Camping School climbing director, certified. They have wilderness first aid, and they are familiar with climbing and cope instruction. The fee covers the staff supervision. It covers all the meals and lodging while you're here and while you're out on the program. It also covers the use of the Leavenworth campsite. That's a private party campsite. They are generous enough each summer to grant us permission to use their site. It's right next to the Wenatchee River, beautiful spot. This fee, it covers the river rafting guide service. The rafting trip is provided by a licensed river guide service. That's already booked and ready to go for this program. And that fee covers transportation to and from all field trips and the overnight camp out at Leavenworth. That's all included in that program. We do that via rented vans, and we have qualified drivers that will be driving those vans. So for Adventure Challenge, you'll check in with your troop. The scouts will check in with their troop on Sunday. We'll have an orientation meeting for those that are participating in that at 7:30 p.m. Monday is an in-camp day, cope and climbing. Tuesday is an alpine hike. In the past, we've taken them up to the fire lookout at the top of Mount Pilchuck. They've taken an entire day's hike out at Gothic Basin, which is also out the Mountain Loop Highway. Great places. Wednesday through Thursday is the Leavenworth trip, where they'll go over there. They will unpack, they'll go out on a whitewater rafting trip that afternoon. Then they have kind of an overnight camp out where they get to do their own little campfire and all of that stuff. They'll cook for themselves while they're out there with food that we send along. We provide that for them. And then they wake up the following morning, break camp, and they do natural face rock climbing on the way back to Pigott. Friday, they do the mountain bike excursion. There are miles of trails all around camp out on public land. And on that trip, they make a stop at Explorer Falls and they do that rappel down the falls. They also have their lunch break there for that day. And then when they get back Friday after the mountain bike trip, Adventure Challenge program has ended and they will finish out Friday evening and Saturday with their troop following the regular camp schedule. What is going on? All right. So again, Adventure Challenge Scouts will camp with the troop Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday evenings. In past years, that group has had their own campsite, but we needed to find a way to fit as many people into Camp Pigott as we could. So we can't give them their own site, but that's okay. This creates a pretty good balance where part of the time they're out on backcountry activities, but you also have them in camp for part of the time to help with troop activities and guiding younger scouts.
We had a question about adventure camp specific gear, and specifically for the Leavenworth trip, they'll need a tent to sleep in, or I mean we've had scouts sleep under the stars. That has happened, but I would suggest bringing a tent. Stoves isn't needed. We have all that troop issue gear, and then additionally, the 2 liters of water is a mandatory. You must have 2 water bottles or 2 liters of water able to carry with you. Those hikes require it, and it's gonna be really thirsty if you don't have those 2 liters of water.
Yeah. So I missed something here. Hang on a minute. Sorry, folks. All right, we're there. Okay. This is the Adventure Challenge schedule for this summer. So we'll take a quick look at this. You'll see that, sorry, everybody, I got dogs. They think they hear the mailman or something. So when you arrive, you'll follow check-in procedures and Sunday schedule with your troop. And then this program starts with that 7:30 p.m. orientation meeting on Sunday evening. The kids will attend opening campfire with their troop after that. And then we move into Monday. Again, that's an in-camp day. This kind of lines out what they'll be doing. They'll have lunch and dinner that day with the troop. The following day, they begin their field trips. They have lunch on the trail on Tuesday, but they're back in time for dinner with their troop. That's the goal. There are times that they get back a little bit late, but we will have a meal for them if that happens. The plan is to have them have dinner with you all, though. Wednesday, they get up mighty early. They load up and they head out to Leavenworth. They get to the campsite, they set up, they do that riverside lunch and their whitewater rafting trip, just as it shows on here. And they go throughout that day and spend the night. Natural face climbing the next day, some free time after that. Then they will be back, ideally, in time for dinner with the troop. And they'll spend that evening with you all. And then they get up on Friday. They do a mountain biking thing like I talked about. They do that rappel. And then when they get back, this program ends and they follow the regular schedule with you. Again, this is in that program guide. There's also a specific gear list for this program in that guide as well.
63. If you
page
had a
63
question about that, that's page 63 of the leader's guide.
Perfect. All right. All right, so Adventure Challenge has an additional form that's required in addition to that Part A, B, and C medical form. the river rafting guide company, River Riders, they have an assumption of risk form that's signed, needs to be signed by a parent. And it's required to go on the trip. If they get there and they don't have it, the guide service will not let that scout go on the trip. There is a QR link to that form in the program guide. Go ahead, scan that. I think there's also a typed out link in case you're unable to use a QR. If you have any trouble getting that form or a medical form, shoot me an email. I'm happy to send those to you. All right, and then during Adventure Challenge during session 1, there's only 1 space left. But if you're coming to session 2, there are 15 spaces left for that Adventure Challenge. All right, we're going to move into, I got a Q&A here. Let me just make sure. Scouts who just turned 18 before camp who want to attend. So you have to be between 15 and 17. Unfortunately, that's a youth protection thing. This is the Scouts BSA level. If it was venturing, it would be different. But you've got to be under 18 to go on Adventure Challenge.
So can I add in there, the Junior Assistant Scoutmaster is a youth position. It's not an adult position, but they could be an Assistant Scoutmaster at 18, but they don't count as part of your 2 deep leadership. You have to have 21 plus.
Yeah,
in camp.
absolutely. All right. Did we get all of them? Let's see. Yep. All right. So we'll move into Webelos and AOL camp and some specific information about that, a kind of an overview of the program, the schedule, all of that. I'm going to turn it over to Ethan. He's heading this up for us, and he'll be able to talk about the program in depth. Ethan, when you're ready for me to change slides, just let me know and we'll take care of that.
Yeah, totally. Awesome. So our Weebelo and AOL program will be happening at on July 5th through 8th. It's a program designed to give Cub Scouts or our older echelons of Cub Scouts, being our Webelos and AOLs, a kind of intro experience into what Scouts BSA is all about, and more towards what a traditional Scouts BSA summer camp is all about. So our program lasts from Thursday until Sunday morning. And later on in the presentation, we have a example schedule of what that will kind of look like. Don, you go next slide, please.
Yep. Did that work? There we go.
Yeah. So with the here at our Webelos camp, our Webelos and AOL camp, we are separating Scouts into patrols, similar to how we have Scouts in Scouts BSA. So our patrols will be separated into a Webelos age Scouts and an AOL age Scout group. This will be so we can better tailor our programs towards those specific age groups and kind of focus on what they should be experiencing and how they can experience Scouts BSA in a better way. So for the Webelos, our big focus will be on advanced Cub Scouting activities and sort of a more independent Scout-led model of program. So our advanced Cub Scouting activities will just be things they couldn't necessarily do or that Camp Edward necessarily couldn't facilitate. For instance, our climbing wall at Camp Pigott, which is significantly bigger and more advanced than over at Camp Pigott, as well as a different sort of metalworking program and all different sorts of programs specific to each area, as well as leading Scouts toward a more independent model where they are starting to kind of make decisions as a group and doing sort of self-leadership, while the adults might be able to take a step back and kind of let the Scouts overall kind of handle their own problems and decisions and kind of work through as a team. And the AOL Scouts will be focusing majority on patrol method and introductions to Scouts BSA programs and methods. right? So the patrol method in Scouts BSA is a huge part of the program, right? We'll have actual like breaking people up into the patrols, making your own patrol flag, patrol yells, really understanding how team-based leadership works, as well as a further introduction into programs and methods, kind of taking aspects from the Trail the First class in Scouts BSA, taking a lot of those aspects into our programs and incorporating that to kind of give your scouts a better understanding of what Scouts BSA is about, how it's done at a summer camp level, and how they can sort of prepare themselves for that next journey in scouting. We have the next slide then. This is kind of what our schedule looked like. It's a bit wide, but that's fine. So it's a 3-ish day program, starting on Thursday. If the formatting would be better, scouts will arrive at around 7 to 9 a.m., right? And then we will begin sort of doing our campsite tours and campsite tours. One of the big things we're striving for at Weebos and AOL Camp is getting patrol methods starting from the beginning, right? If we establish patrols, we then have scouts kind of building on their leadership skills, and by the end forming lasting bonds through those patrols. You can see in the schedule that we have different rotations. This will look similar to how our program works at Camp Edward. The patrols will be rotating through different pre-set up programs in each of our areas, so that each rotation they will visit a different area and experience a different activity here at Camp Pigott. As well, we have in the evenings, we have our patrol signups where the scouts will be able to choose exactly what they want to spend their time with as a patrol, and they will decide that through themselves with maybe a bit of adult help along the way, as adults should be doing in scouting. And then we have our evenings for our own patrol nights, for campfires, and then we have a friendship fire where we can actually go to other campsites and exchange fun memories, skits, maybe some s'mores, who knows. And then, of course, our closing campfire where we will share our own skits, songs, all those things at our Camp Pigott Fireball. And then the next morning, we'll be heading out. One last thing before I miss this, we're also having a camp-wide event, which will be a full camp sort of competition event that the scouts from each patrol will be able to compete against each other for all fun and games. All right, I think that's looking all good. Okay, after that.
This next one is kind of an example of the rotation thing. It's not completely fledged out yet, but it'll give you an idea. Go ahead.
Yeah. So the schedule might look very reminiscent to how our Camp Edward schedule looks for anyone who has been to Camp Edward. Of course, things as we get ironed out a bit more, the spelling errors I immediately see will get fixed, and all that will be all fun. And so, yeah.
Okay. So real quick, on the council website, you can find all kinds of stuff, but of particular interest, the camp summer program guide that we showed at the beginning, that will soon be on the website. You can find the medical form blank forms. Those incidentally can also be found at scouting.org. And then again, that merit badge sign up via Tentaroo, and that's also where you would sign up for the Adventure Challenge elective if you have kids that want to do that yet. All right, finally, we are a nationally accredited Scouts BSA long-term camp. We go through an annual assessment visit by a team of volunteers representing the national organization, and they go through standard by standard, and they make sure that we are following along in line with the way that BSA wants a camp to be run. Those standards cover everything from program to health and safety to facilities to food service, you name it, it's covered. All right, and then I just want to kind of end here by thanking you for choosing us this year. and letting you know that if you have any further questions, things like payments, that sort of thing, you would want to direct those to campingdepartment@seattlebsa.org. If you have questions regarding things at camp here on site or things of that nature, feel free to email me directly. There's my email address there at the bottom of the sheet. And that's really all we've got. I'm going to go ahead and give maybe 2 or 3 minutes to answer any questions you might have that you didn't get a chance to ask. I know I said we condensed this, and we did. I figured it would take about 40 minutes, but we've been on here for a little over an hour. So yeah, if anybody has any questions, go ahead and drop those in the Q&A. We'll stay on here for 3 minutes or so, and if I don't get anything, we'll go ahead and we will disconnect. But
Oh, it's a late the waiver.
for River Riders, yes.
Yeah.
Or wait, is that? Let me just check that this is the right. Appreciate the comments about the leader's guide. That was a complete reformat this year. And then again, we also combined everything, and that was quite the effort. So I appreciate the comment. Thank you. That River Riders link is for a River Riders company, it looks like in New Zealand. I sure hope that's not where my QR goes. I'm gonna check. Let's see. See. Dun-dun-dun. Bear with me, we'll double check this. I'm gonna put the actual River Rider link in the deal if I can get to it. Almost there.
I have a.
Do you have that link, Aiden?
I don't have a. I have a link to the page. Where it is linked.
So, oh, I have this link to a spot on our Google Drive so folks
Okay.
can get to it.
Because otherwise, I have the link to their website. But
Nope. All right. Let me. So the QR in the program guide does work. It will take you to the right form for that waiver. But let's see. Is that where it is? Bear with me, guys. I apologize. Goodness. Oh, man. My fault here. Hang on.
Don, when you end up sending the program guide out, I think it'd be best to send it as a actual like PDF, not in a Google Drive, because it seems some people are having issues with Google. So probably be the best to
Okay.
condense that into an actual PDF.
So when we send it out, it'll go out as an actual PDF. It'll come out as an attachment to an email. So yeah. Why? on. All right, almost there. Come on. All right. That should. How about that one? I'm close. There, open in tab. All right, I almost got it. All right. Ethan, where have you been putting the links that you come up with?
I've been, I mean, what do you mean links been coming up with? I haven't sent
Well,
any links out, so
oh, you answered questions with it.
yeah, I've been sending them in the question links.
There's
So
a
I cannot find an effective way to get this out over Zoom, but what I will do is I will make sure that a separate email with this form as an attachment goes out ahead of time to everybody who's coming along on Adventure Challenge. And again, the QR that's in the guide does work, but I will double check that it's also a clickable link so that when you get your copy via email, you're able to then access that form that way as well. Best I can do, I think, at this point.
there's also a question: will there be an OA night? We will have an OA day at camp.
Do you remember which day of the week that is?
Thursday, I believe.
Thursday?
I think you're right.
Yeah, it's the day after cookout.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't have anything further. We have some Q&As. Oh, these are just comments. Figured I'd ask. The Google search takes us to a link that is dead. I'm not sure why you're getting a dead link on the program guide, but again, that's going to come out by email. Yeah, I think that's about it. I think we got them all. So I'm going to go ahead and say we're done, and thank you again for being here. Always feel free to reach out to me on email, and I am happy to answer any questions you have. The more we can answer ahead of camp, the better. So I am at your service. Hmm. Oh, is she still here? Heather, I just saw your question. The wait list, do we know if that might move at all? I don't at this point, but I can tell you that we're really, really full. When Melissa gets back, she will have a better answer for you. Unfortunately, I just don't have a whole lot of control over that one. Jamie asks if there are girls on adventure week so that they'll have buddies. I will check that roster and I will email you directly and let you know.
We do have female staff going.
We have staff. The concern is, will the youth have a buddy?
Yeah,
I
they
believe
also asked about
yeah, I think that's a yes, but I will double check. All right. All right. Think we're good.
awesome.
All right, guys.
Sounds good.
I'm going to go ahead and jump off, and that is likely going to end this. So thank you for being here and helping out. I think we got her done.
Awesome.
All right.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
Yeah, thank you, Ethan. Thank you, Dawn.
All right.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Helen.
Thank you all. Have a
Bye.
good night.
Bye.
Bye.